Judgment has been reserved in former President Jacob Zuma's latest court bid. He's challenging a ruling finding him personally liable to pay 10 million rands for disputing the remedial action of the state capture report. Judge Dunstan Mlambo earlier gave Zuma leave to appeal the matter. eNCA's Erin Bates was at court today and joins us now. Let's start on that point. If we can, Erin, what did Judge Mlambo have to say?
Well, interesting that we didn't get the reasons for the decision to grant this intervention application for leave to appeal, which was handed down or decided upon at around 12:30 today after a morning of arguments for and against allowing this intervention application. But once it had been decided, we swiftly moved on to the merits on the version of the former president's advocates for why he says he shouldn't be mulcted or joined personally to pay about 10 million rand in legal fees for opposing the remedial action in the Public Protector's report. And it was quite a lengthy and sort of thorough argument from the two advocates for the former president. But in summary, he says that he was doing his best to ensure that the constitutionality of the public protector advising him to refer the issues of the state of capture report over accusations of state capture and set up a commission of inquiry were sound in law, and that he wasn't trying to be obstructive or malicious in doing so, in opposing this and referring it to the courts, but he simply wanted to make sure that he was doing the right thing, being a champion, you could say, of the Constitution.
Well, I saw earlier, Advocate Kakane, who is representing the former president, saying he wants to stay away from all those accusations that have been leveled against the former president, that he's being obstructionist and employing delaying tactics. He wants to stick to matters of law.
Yes, both advocates Kakane and Masuku for the former president taking umbrage with the arguments of the likes of Kasak and the economic freedom fighters who characterized Zuma's approach to litigation, referring to that Stalingrad approach, repeatedly going to the courts, having a kind of dogged, bloody-mindedness in terms of constantly challenging any sort of action against him, any sanction, you could say, by instituting and sort of forwarding these applications for leave to appeal. That's how they've characterized it, but the advocates for the former president at pains to say that wasn't at all the former president's approach, and in fact he'd long wanted to institute this commission of inquiry. It was simply a matter of making sure he'd done the right thing, and they're referring to some statements by the former president that he only instituted the state of capture inquiry soon before he stepped down as president, or was ousted, depending on how you look at it, because it was in the public interest, not because he was confident in law that the remedial action in full from the public protector was constitutionally valid. Now, of course, all of this was really decided by this very court in late 2017, and in fact, Advocate Dalium Porfu for COPE and the UDM said, was there even a case here to intervene on? But in the end, it seems that there was merit on the former president's application because the court granted this intervention application and then heard various arguments into the afternoon and early evening.
Any idea, before we move on to another issue, Erin, as to when we should expect the outcome of today's proceedings?
On the statements of the Judge President Mlambo, we haven't had any indication of a time frame, only to say that they're aware that they need to see to the matter soon and they're not going to delay. But from a few of the advocates I spoke to after the matter was stepped down, we got an estimate of about a month or so. So do with that what you will. It's not a formal estimate, but that seems to be the opinion of people who know about how long these things normally take.
And of course, today we got to hear from the lawyers representing Ajay Gupta.
Yes, interesting there that we finally have the submissions that Ajay Gupta made in early September to the state capture inquiry. This document, this affidavit from the Gupta patriarch, is stamped by the South African Embassy, or I think it's in fact the Consulate General in Dubai. It's dated early September, and in it he disputes or refutes several assertions by Mcebisi Jonas about a meeting at the Saxonwold family home in October of 2015. Ajay Gupta saying he wasn't there. He has an alibi in the form of Veronica Raghavan, who was acting Oak Bay CEO at some point, and that his cell phone records too will show that he was not at the property when this meeting is alleged to have happened. He also acknowledges that Jonas said in his testimony at the state capture inquiry that he could have been mistaken about which brother he met with. But quite alarmingly, Vuyo, in the affidavit from Ajay Gupta, he accuses the public protector, Thuli Madonsela, as it was then, of providing leading questions to Jonas to try and identify Ajay Gupta as the brother he'd met, including on Ajay Gupta's affidavit, putting a photograph in front of Jonas in order to sort of induce, you could say, the response that it was in fact Ajay Gupta that he met, something Gupta himself denies.
Briefly, Erin, what's the status then of this Ajay Gupta affidavit?
Well, we've received a copy of it directly from the state capture inquiry, so it has been admitted to the inquiry. As I say, it's stamped early September of 2018, and that precedes the decision to not allow any of the Gupta family members to testify via video link. So this is the only information we have on record directly from Ajay Gupta in the state capture inquiry so far. And of course, it stems from being implicated in the testimony of Jonas. Him also in that statement importantly saying he never made an offer in cash of around 600,000 rand or to provide a 6 million rand sort of amount into an account of Jonas's choice. And he also says that the supposed bar in area that Jonas referred to in his statement isn't on the floor of the house where the lounge is, where this meeting was supposed to have happened. Also interesting, I thought that he acknowledged that he has a relationship with Dunstan Zuma, that Zuma is well known to him, but that he didn't know Fana Hlongwane at the time that Jonas says this meeting with the Gupta brother happened.
Okay, Erin Bates, thanks very much for your time.